Okay, let's put some of our hooks to use.
Let's put our hooks to use.
Like he said,
First one we're going to do.
the first set will emphasize the basic hooks, the high elbow, and this will be close range. The tree is waiting, and it's a good reminder to have tight fists, because that's no soft trunk right there. In this video, I pull most of the punches, but I purposely strike the trunk a bunch of times. Medium speed and power, very controlled, but to be fair, there are a bunch of times in the video where I accidentally made contact, but I was tight, so it wasn't a big deal. Okay, so you should be able to recognize the things we discussed. You can see me put them in action, mixing in a bunch of work, but I'll try to keep emphasizing and be predominant with that basic hook style, or at least a high arm slot, a high elbow hook. We're in close range here, a lot of clinching options, and take note that my right, my natural power punch, is also striking as a hook, which I'm doing intentionally. Yes, it's a good opportunity to ponder and consider in-close habits and variables. Watch this. It's a product of the body's junction, what you generate through your core and your hips, etc. Aha! Make your opponent feel one thing and strike with another. We can be very sensitive when in close. You can feel when your opponent is shifting weight or moving in order to strike. Occupy and stimulate their senses and strike from a blind spot. It's good to film yourself or at least use a mirror sometimes. This way you can see all the times your hands are lowering, like mine are. Yeah, sure, sometimes it helps with flow or it's intentional, but that doesn't mean much if I keep getting caught and punched or kicked in the face. In the clinch, you have to be smart about being strong. It's not always wise to set up and plant your feet like you're going to push a car that is in neutral. So the same goes for trying to gear back and get the leverage to hook in the clinch, or even in close. You must get help from your angles and your ability to twist, to snap, and to get the power and leverage to do so through your junction. Make no mistake, I'm hardly using a conventional push force when you see these breaks out of the clinch or out from in close. All right. Sure, rising and lowering in stance height can also help get some body and angles into your strikes. I'll try and get behind the tree a bit so you can see from that perspective. And I'll slip in a little distraction with my left foot. Just sharing some ideas, yo. All right, we got him. Stay composed, create some space. You don't need to go into a sloppy fury rage to finish off an opponent. This is a moment to trust what you have and set up the finished. Craft it. Unless you think it's better to drop 20 punches into your opponent's defense because you insist they're moments away from getting knocked out. The bell rings. That's okay. We'll do it all over again next round. Just confirming my hands are perfectly fine. Now, for the next set, we'll still focus on high arm slots, raised elbow, but with a little more distance, like mid-range and into close range. One point being that the increased freedom, the space for our arms and punching, provides us with adjusted body movement to match it. We'll mix in hooks that involve higher percentages of shoulder or upper body, and some that involve a lot of body rotation. And the benefit of having some space will also allow us to mix in advancing steps and thrusting. I'm taking a moment to demonstrate the subtle arm slot differences. Generally, you can notice by the amount of my body exposed or the height of the elbow, before, during, and at full extension. Okay, take notice of some hooks with straight-on effects, a level like plane of motion forward. Kind of the energy flow from the different paths. The point is, straight-on strikes can get the energy and effects of larger hooking strikes by torque, twisting and rotating forces, also a churning of energy. When I say churning, the term is spelt with a CH, just in case it's difficult to distinguish my pronunciation of it. Practice strikes that come from a variety of guard positions, and after you just blocked strikes. Obviously, not all the hooks are going to be well-dedicated strikes. You know how we're feeling each other out, right? You know how there's always some chess involved, right? Do you just throw punches for the hell of it, just to see what happens, or because you think it's what you're supposed to do? I'm looking for habits, things you can't control, things that trigger your reflexes. I'm looking at how jumpy you are, how keen you are to just brawl, how composed you're willing to be, how patient. Your opponent may try to overwhelm you, bombard you. That sloppy fury rage we talked about. Train your reflexes. Reprogram your reflexes. When that sloppy flurry comes, trust your defense. Strike wisely, with intention, with high odds in your favor, which means it involves defense as well. Your opponent throws 5 sloppy, rageful punches. They're all hitting your arms and gloves, maybe glancing, but nothing is there unless you dropped your right hand when you threw a counter left, right? Anyway, you should be noticing some of these mid-ranges. I'm utilizing some possible blind spot angles too. Okay, so the next set will involve a lot less high slots and elbows. We're going to put to use the deception. Difficult reads, quick delivery, the compact, and of course, the body will replace the need for big loopy slots or heavy dedicated planting feet. All right, folks, let's keep the fun going. Keep your eyes peeled because the hooks can slip in there, and I'm sure there'll be a couple you like. The subtlety of rotations, both the fist and the hips, the core. Watch this. No worries, we'll examine that soon. Be able to throw a left from both a left and right lean, and the same goes for your right. If you have effective hand positions, you can transition to guard quickly, and you won't need a dedicated peekaboo. Just means it's giving you more options. Coordinate movement, rhythm, and punches. And sure, you can slip a loopy one in. Right about now. And now you're banging. If you see it working at that distance, then you might be able to pick your opponent apart, plus have enough distance so you can react to them trying to overcome that distance. Big folks should know that range, and smaller ones should know how to get in. Let me wax poetic the way the sweet science does. Long 1-2, long 1-2. Your opponent comes in, now the hook. Finish it. Control, patience, investments made, brains will be brawn, set it up. Chess. The inevitable is not luck, it's what you create. It must be inescapable. It must be checkmate. Control it. They will either react low and get hit high, or react high and get it low. Back off and come right back in. The angles are relentless. Sometimes it's almost slow motion. Everything to a calm precision, a quiet precision. Your adrenaline, your energy is electric. You must trust the harmony, resist the maddening rage. Be prepared to do it as many times as it takes, as many times as you have made mistakes. Keep getting up, keep focusing, recuperating, keep harmony, smarts. Feel yourself where you're at. There will be optimal choices for each stage of the process. Survive, defend, survive, recoup. Never, ever give up. Stall, play it off. Be fair. Do not cheat. Recoup, work, look, seek, see it, get to it. All right, I have a little extra fun footage remaining for part 3. In the meantime, how steady am I after these sets? The body to collect itself. No shaking, right? At some point in the future, we'll review calming, internal control, and recuperation. It's a natural rest. The point is not to force yourself to be still. It's to actually be still.